Hello and welcome back to Art Masters with me, Mrs. Portilla. Today we are going to be doing some value drawings just like Winslow Homer. He liked to use lights and darks to make his paintings and drawings look realistic. So we're going to be using some line and crayon today to make some shaded and realistic looking sailboats just like Winslow Homer. So let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, we're going to start with our little scrap piece of paper that we have here, and we're going to be cutting a triangle today. So there's a couple of ways to do the triangle. You could just use your scissors and cut from this edge to this edge. You could fold it, but this is not a perfect square, so it's a little bit hard to fold. If you're one of our younger students and you maybe need a little bit of help cutting, that's fine. Maybe one of our helpers can help you. But if you want to fold it, that gives you a nice straight line to follow. And then we're going to cut from this point, nice and slow. So everybody go ahead and get your scissors and your scrap paper, and you're going to cut it so you get two triangles. Okay, now that we all have our triangle template, we're just going to pick one. And this is going to be our sail, because we're going to be making a sailboat. Just like Homer used values or the lights and dark of a color, we're going to be doing a sailboat using some black crayon for shading. Sail, you could do it this way or this way, okay? I think I'll do mine this way today. And you could place it a little bit lower on your paper or maybe a little bit higher on your paper. It's up to you where you want to place it, but we want to have the whole triangle on our page. We don't want to have half of it coming off, okay? So let's find a nice place. Watch me first. Okay, I'm going to use this as a template or something that I could trace. So now I'm going to use my crayon and I'm going to push down on my template. And you could do this very carefully. So I'm going to push against that edge of the paper and pull my crayon across and stop. Pull my crayon across and stop. And that will give me a nice sail triangle. So everyone take your triangle, place it on your paper, and trace over it with your black crayon. This is going to be the sail of our boat. Okay, great job. So now you could use this same triangle or you could use your other triangle, and we're going to make the hull or the body of the boat. So the hull of the boat or the body of the boat is kind of this shape here. And I'm going to take, watch me first, I'm going to take my triangle shape and I'm just going to cut the bottom off. So if I cut a lot of the bottom off, I'm going to have a skinny hull of my boat. If I just cut a little bit of the bottom off, I'm going to have a very large hull of my boat. So I'm going to cut somewhere in between like this. And then that would give me the hull of my boat. So let's everybody just cut the bottom edge of your triangle. And depending on where you cut is what the hull of your boat will look like. Okay, excellent job. Everyone should have the hull of their boat. Now, I can put it, you could put it close to the sail, but I like to have it a little bit further away from the sail, so we have a little bit of a space there. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use our black crayon, pushing down with our hand. We're going to go up to that edge, right at the edge. Good, so everyone go ahead and trace the hull of your boat with your black crayon. Now everyone has a triangle for a sail and a hull for the boat. Now we're going to draw a horizon line. So the horizon line is the line where the ocean and the sky meet. Or maybe if you were looking out the window and you see where the mountains and the sky meet, that's called a horizon line. And you'll notice the horizon line is horizontal. So when it's going across, it's horizontal. If I'm going up and down, that's vertical. So we're going to make our horizon line horizontal. Okay, so I'm going to use my whole template as my straight edge. Maybe you want to use your triangle, either is fine. We just want something that's straight. You could even use a ruler. So I'm going to draw the horizon line, but I don't want to make it go through my sail. So what I'll do is I'll draw a line from the edge to the edge of my sail, and then I'll go from the edge of the sail to the other edge. Let me show you what I mean. I don't want to put my horizon line right in the center of my paper. I want to put it up a little bit higher. So maybe like 4 or 5 fingers from the top. So I'm going to keep my template like this. Maybe you have a ruler, but watch me first. I'm going to go from this edge of the paper and I'm going to stop right at the edge of my sail. Do you see that? I didn't go through my sail. Now I'm going to line up my straight edge with that line over there. So it's going to be the same, but I want to do the same thing. I might even put a dot here just so I remember. Stop. So I'm going to start at the sail and I'm going to go out to the edge. Okay, so now I have a horizon line that's not going through my sail. If you go a little bit through the sail, it's okay. We could go over that with crayon. So everyone take your straight edge, which is either a scrap paper or a ruler, and you're going to go from the edge of the paper to your sail, lining it up, the edge of the sail to the paper, just like I have here. All right, so now we have our nice sketch with our crayon of our sailboat. Now we're going to start learning about value. Value is how light or how dark a color is. So to get a dark value, I'm going to push hard and overlap my crayon. For a light value, I'm going to push not hard at all, very light. And even lighter, I'm just going to barely go over it and kind of keep the lines separate. So you have a dark value, a medium value, and a light value. And that's going to give us a 3-dimensional look as we use that. Homer really liked to use light and dark values in all of his art. So we are going to start with our horizon line, and we're going to go down for the water. So if you notice with the water, we want to color horizontal lines. And we want a darker value at the top, and we're going to go lighter and lighter and lighter as we go down and closer, okay? So you'll also notice as you want to go darker, you're going to put your lines very close together, and then as you pull down, they'll be a little bit farther apart. So watch what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start at the top with horizontal lines. I could go line by line, or I could kind of scribble, but maybe that seems a little bit too hard for you. If you still have your template, you could lay that in here so that protects your sailboat, okay? Now I'm going to do about 2 or 3 fingers of dark, and then I'm going to go lighter. I'm not pushing hard now. I'm still going over the color, but I'm not pushing very hard. You see how that's dark and now it's getting lighter? And maybe if I still have my whole template, I can do that to protect my boat as well, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing on this side as I did to this side. I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to be very careful by my line, and I'm using horizontal lines. You see how I'm going slow? Okay, and then I'm going to start going less pressure. I'm not pushing very hard now. So I think it's a good idea to protect your paper. So if you still have your template, put your sail template in there and hold it down. You're going to start dark, pushing hard and overlapping your lines, going horizontal at the top. Go down about 3 fingers, and then you're going to do light pressure. We're not going to fill it all in just yet. Let's just get started nice and slow. Okay, so let's continue on with our water. So I'm going to keep my little protectors on here, okay? And now I'm going to kind of keep this medium tone until I get to about my boat, the middle of my boat maybe. And then I'm going to go very, very, very light and far apart. Okay, so watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold this down. I'm going to start light because I could always go darker. Okay, so now I could get rid of that one, and I'm just going to do the bottom half here, and I'm going to do it very light. As I come down, I'm going to make the lines more separated. So what I mean by that is I'm not going to be overlapping the lines as much. I'm going to actually leave some white space. So when I remove that, I have dark to light. So go ahead and start with some lighter colors here. Remember, we could always add more, but we can't take away. So maybe I'll go in and make some of this darker, but for now, I want dark back here, closer to the horizon line, and then you're gonna get lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing for the sky. So the sky, I might wanna make it even lighter than the ocean, but I'm gonna do the same idea, okay? I'm gonna do a lighter value, but I'm gonna do a little bit darker of a value, or pushing harder at the top, but I still want this to be the darkest, okay? So I'm going to make big, long, horizontal strokes with my crayon. Do you see how I'm not making it as dark? I'm kind of making it like my middle one. And then as I come down, I'm leaving some white space. And then I'm going to leave white right there, okay? So if you want to add a little bit of a sky, you could do so. If you don't want to add the sky, you don't need to, okay? But if you'd like to, you're going to go a little bit darker at the top, not as dark as this, and then bring it down. I'm not even coloring every part. I'm leaving some white space in there, and I'm using horizontal or across lines. Okay, so now we want to make our sail look a little bit more realistic. So for you kindergartners, if you want to stop and leave it a white sail, you could just leave your sail white, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to think about a light source. So we're going to pretend that the sun is coming from this side. And oh, it's going to be so bright right here on the sail, which means there's going to be a little bit of a shadow right here by the sail. So the way we make a shadow is we're going to use a little bit of a darker color. Okay, same thing, we're kind of making a gradient, dark to light. So watch how I'm going to make a little bit of a shadow. I'm going to pretend my sun is coming here, which means I'm going to get some shadow here. So I'm still doing horizontal lines. So what I did is I actually put a nice dark line at the bottom of my sail, and maybe you want to go back up and make a dark line on the side of your sail. But then what I did is I pushed hard with my crayon just up towards the top, and then I lessened my pressure. And then I did a little bit more, just barely coloring with a little bit. So if you want to add just a little bit of a shadow, you could do so. If you want to extend that a little bit more, you would just do very, very light. And I'm going along with the shape. To add a little bit of a shadow in your sail, you may do so by pushing hard on the edge of your sail and then going in with a little bit of a lighter color, but then I'm leaving this whole space here white. Excellent. So now we're going to do the whole of the ship. So we're going to do the same thing with shadows, but maybe for you second graders, if you want to add a little bit more detail, you can do so. If you want to add maybe some wood planking, this is optional for some of our older kids. If you want to do some wood planking, maybe you would just use your template. Okay, again, that's some options for a little bit more detail. Okay, but we could color our hull the same way, where we're going to pretend that the light is coming from this side here. So we're going to make the bottom and kind of the corners a little bit darker by pushing hard with our crayon. And then the next layer is very light. Good. So for many of you, we are going to be done right here. Some final additions we could do is we could use our template again, and we could make our outline a little bit darker if you feel like yours is not dark enough, but we're going to use a template because we always want it to be a nice straight line. You could add the shadow at the bottom of your hole. Maybe you feel like you need to darken the back of your water a little bit. You could darken the water a little bit. Okay? If you'd like to add a shadow underneath the hull of your boat, you would just come off the bottom of your boat. Again, this is probably for more of you older kids here. A little bit of a shadow there. And for you second graders, again, maybe you want to add just a little bit more detail. Maybe you want to connect your boat with a mast. Or maybe you want to use this and make a flag. So these are all options. You could be done with just your boat. You could add a little bit more detail. Okay, excellent job, my friends. So the way we finish our project is we take our Winslow Homer tag and we are going to put our name on the tag and glue it on the back. And then once we've done that, we are going to glue our sailboat onto our black paper, and then we are finished. So excellent job with your Value Sailboat by Winslow Homer. All right, great job today, guys, doing your sailboats just like Homer. I hope that you guys will have some time to hang these up and evaluate them. You can evaluate the lights and the darks, point out where the values are, where the biggest contrast is, and what else you like about the line and the value of each other's work. Great job, and we'll see you next time on Art Masters.